broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Let's keep you always. May your wishes all come true.
We definitely sound exactly like that.
Welcome back, everybody. Back to AFTERBUZZ TV's Parenthood After Show. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope you all had a nice, fun, safe break and great holidays. We are here doing season 6, episode 10. How did we get here? What an episode. What an episode to come back to.
For sure.
Oh my goodness. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. Joining me, I have...
Hey y'all, I'm April Whisenhant.
Hey guys, I'm Kellie Knezovich.
Oh my goodness, we only have 3 more episodes left, but we'll get to that. But just listening to this theme song, it's almost over.
Forever young.
Nice. Great way to finish it. Overall, really quickly, what were your thoughts? Kellie, we'll start with you.
Tearjerker. Obviously, I mean, it is every episode. It's just chills first second in. I really did like the family dynamic. I thought everyone came together really well, and it worked. I was happy.
It did.
For me, it was such a roller coaster. There were I feel like I was like grinning from ear to ear sometimes, and then literally crying other times. So just like 1 second, I'm like, oh, this is the best thing ever, and then the next, it's the worst.
I feel like everything is happening in a positive light for everyone that is not Zeke.
Yeah. Exactly. What do you think?
Relationship-wise, I think everyone's getting back together and marriage proposals and cool things like that.
Yeah, individually, it seems like life is still moving on.
Yeah.
And we will definitely get into it. Overall, I really love this episode, how they started it, how they ended it, everything in between. I ended and like... We'll get to it, but I loved how we got into the episode. There was no audio. You could just see every single Braverman just receiving the news and trying to go to the hospital. How it was shot, it was beautiful, slow-mo. Everyone's reactions and where they were and in their lives, and just all coming together at the hospital.
Yeah. The direction of that scene was amazing. I'm not sure, I didn't look to see who directed the episode, but it was really good. It just was, I mean, they always make you feel stuff that you kind of don't know you can feel, but that especially was a really moving part of the episode to me.
Yeah.
Kellie, what did you think?
I thought so too. It was so funny. April and I were watching it, and of course, when we find Joel and Julia in bed together,
we're like,
oh my gosh, she freaked out. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
from the last episode.
I was very happy. I wrote that down. I was like, they're together. They're really together.
I thought they just like made out, and then that was it.
Well, because
you knew that was leading into a night.
Sure,
but it was such a quick turnaround, though.
Yeah, especially because this is in Parenthood time and still the same night that all this is going down.
This whole timeline, though, really confuses me. I mean, Amber is ready to pop. I'm so lost. I thought she was like 5 or 6 months, 7 months.
Technically, she's like 6 months right now. Or she is 6 months. But she definitely looks bigger than they made her look in the last episode.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought. I was going to ask you. I was like, it looks like she's bigger, even though it's in the same night. It's been 6 weeks for us, the audience, in real time, but not so much in the show.
Yeah.
So I think that was just the visual trickery that Parenthood is trying to do to maybe push and expedite her pregnancy, just so we can see, because it is the final season in the last few episodes, just so the audience could see the baby coming.
Yeah.
So they're going to push it a little bit faster than what it really is.
I wonder what episode it'll be that we'll see the baby come. If they're going to wait to the finale, or if it's going to be probably not next week. The preview didn't show anything.
No, probably. I'm saying
good question.
for the sake of the show, probably the finale, because that's a big story to happen down in a big episode. But, we'll start with Joel and Julia, though. Yeah. We see them.
Yeah, I love how both of you look at me right now.
We see them together in bed, but what did you think of Joel just being there at the hospital, being so supportive?
Angel. I showed her right before we started. I literally wrote Joel equals Angel because it's just the way he does everything, the way he acts, and Julia looked so happy whenever he showed up at the hospital.
Shocked and then happy.
Exactly. And he just has that way of making everyone feel really, really good. And Julia kind of needs that type of person in her life. And I mean, obviously Joel has had his stuff in the past, but slate is wiped clean for me. He's literally, he's an angel. They're an angel couple.
Team Julia.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe.
Yes, Kelly.
Yeah, I thought he really stepped up to the plate. I thought, honestly, every spouse or Hank in this situation, or I guess you would consider Joel as well. But I think everyone really stepped up to the plate this episode. And Joel did things that I was shocked by, bringing the coffee when, I feel like he constantly asks Julia for permission to do something. Or he may not take the action and take the lead, because I feel like Julia kind of does a lot of times in the relationship. But the fact that he just went out of his way to go get everyone coffee, and he was so thoughtful, very thoughtful. And he's like, I'm going to stay here with you. And he went to go see Zeke with Julia, which obviously is very hard. But I thought I'm so proud of him.
Yeah. And you mentioned that it seems like Joel needs to ask for permission, but if you think about it, Joel was the one who removed himself from the Braverman. So to get back into the Braverman storyline and just being there for the family, yes, I can understand from his point of view that he has to, not to overstep his boundaries, that, he's just there for support. And to ask is just the genuine way of, if you need anything, I'm here for you. Yeah. And I really liked Joel. He was such a great guy, and just not just a great husband, but just a guy in person to be there for his family. He is a Braverman. He is a Braverman.
He is.
Yeah.
Joel Graham.
He might not have the last name. Yeah, Dash Braverman.
Hyphen Braverman. But even when he brought the coffee, did you see Julia's face? She just lit up.
She did.
Pure happiness. And then later on in the episode, when they go in to see Zeke, and we'll talk about Zeke, that even Julia was like, he's my husband. So just that mentality that now, again, are they going to get divorced?
No way.
But see, I was still shocked that he did, he figured out everything with the kids. He had the kids taken care of. He wasn't, I don't know where the kids are, I just left them at home. I mean, he had a plan, and he had specific things worked out. And I thought I think Julia was very shocked by his actions. And I thought he did really well.
But that's so Joel to me, though, to have everything planned and to have it all worked out, because he's one of those guys who you're like, how do you exist? Because he just seems to kind of always have it together, and he just always knows what to do. He's the kind of guy that you definitely want with you when you're going through something rough. And we've seen him even in past seasons. He's always been such a good support system for everyone. But I think the thing that I liked about him most, and the thing that I think he's changed the most with, is that he's really stepping up to the plate.
Yeah.
And just like you said, normally he has to normally he would ask, and of course there are reasons why you would ask, but I liked seeing him taking more initiative.
Very
and just
proactive.
kind of I'm going to go for it, and I know this is what they need, so let me do it.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, and even Joel's great actions even attracted the attention of Hank.
Yeah.
And it made him have the self-realization of where he stands in the Braverman family. What do we think of Hank and how he's stepping in and trying to be that father, parental figure to Drew when Drew's car broke down and he had to go help him? And what do we think of Hank in this whole situation?
Hank tonight, I felt like I've been the Grinch against Hank this season, and that my heart grew 3 times for him tonight. Because just seeing him, I feel like the hardest part, and we've seen it with old Ruby, for kids who have divorced parents, is getting to know a future possible stepmom or stepdad. And to see him responding the way that he did to everything and just like being, he really wants to help. And this is something that's so out of character for him.
Yeah.
And it's tough for him to be like, well, just let me do something. And, you could clearly see that his feelings were kind of hurt because everyone else was just there. And the fact that he was so into being a part of the family, even though technically he's not a part of the family, was huge. And that he was just at least trying so hard with Drew, but was able to be like, okay, you don't want to talk, totally fine, in his awkward little way.
I thought he had some great words of advice for Drew in the car. I mean, I feel like it's in Hank's manner, and he even addressed it himself in the car, that he's like, I'm fine without talking. I don't mind not talking. Because he doesn't talk. I mean, he is probably better off without communicating. But I thought that he was trying really hard with Drew to make him feel comfortable, and Hank definitely stepped outside his normal nature, I guess. I was blown away by his actions tonight.
Were you happy at the fact that Hank proposes to Sarah?
Did not see that coming until right before. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to propose. But the whole episode, I was not thinking that he was going to ask her. Obviously, wrong timing. Weird place, like he mentioned as well. But I like it.
I liked it too, because it was, even though everything else that was going on at the same time, timing was not great on Hank's part, but where he was coming from, it was sweet and endearing, and this is like his realization of how much he wants to be part of Sarah's life and part of the Braverman family. And having Hank even open up and like having the spew of words come out and having him that realization, yes, I just want to be married to you and I want you in my life this whole time. That says a lot for Hank in just talking about it, and because he's not a communicator. And now, a whole year later, 2 years later, for how long we've known Hank, he's saying all these emotions that was so hard for him, for his character at the beginning.
I honestly, during the proposal, I was like, this is not happening. Even though I did grow to have that love for Hank tonight, I was still like, no, this is so bad. Like, the awkwardness was just too much for me. But then the second, Sarah was like, let's talk about it, whatever, and she walked away, and then he says to the nurse, I just proposed. And you could see, genuine, real happiness in him. That's the second that I was completely, turned over. I was like, because it wasn't, it was tough for me to be like, I can't tell if she's really happy or if she's just like, this is so weird right now. But then the second he said that to the nurse, I was like, no, this is real. This is something that he wants to get into, and isn't just being overly emotional with an overly emotional situation, which he's normally never good at anyway. So
I didn't really sense any awkwardness. I do think it was a very weird place, like he mentioned, and like we've talked about too. I just don't think it was very awkward. I thought Sarah was blown away, as I'm pretty sure all of we were. But I think I feel like she was happy.
I think I'm just an awkward person, so therefore I think everything else is awkward. Okay. That's probably
the whole
if that was you in that situation.
Like, what?
Yeah. Well, I definitely wouldn't want that. But I think that she was really happy because I don't think she expected it, and I think it definitely. I mean, she was kind of like, oh, what? Like it took her a while to understand and realize what was going on. But I think ultimately when she's like, let's talk about it later. Let's talk. It was really. Let's talk about our future together later after everything is done at the hospital.
We still have to deal with Zeke.
Yeah.
Exactly, because when I didn't feel like the let's talk about it was a no.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Because we even saw from last episode that Sarah did tell Hank she is happy and happy with him and where she is in life. So I think they're going to get married.
I think they will too.
Do you think that'll be in the finale?
That might. That might.
We're going to have a 3-hour finale at this point. One thing about Hank that I really liked tonight, or actually one of my favorite parts of the episode, was when Hank and Drew, or when Drew approached Hank and was saying, thank you, you'd have to do that. I didn't mean the whole loser comment earlier. And he says something about, he's like, you don't know that my dad's going to be okay. Or, I just messed up and I said, I told my grandma about the trip that he was trying to plan for him. And it was so kind of insightful, and I feel like people don't really say this, in this situation, but he's like, no. If, you know, I have a daughter, and if she ever did something bad to me, if she ever said she hated me, which she has, I wouldn't think of that whatsoever. And it was so, like, to hear, like, really good advice in such a hard time, and something that I felt like made Drew legitimately feel a lot better. That made me, I was really proud of Hank for that, because even I always think, like, what do you say in that situation? I mean, there's nothing to say in that sort of situation that can really make someone feel better. But I feel like that definitely was a good, insightful thing for him to share with Drew, and another thing that made me on Team Hank.
Yeah, and I really loved Hank in this episode, because having these little conversations with Drew, and notice it wasn't Zeke. It was Hank being the fatherly figure, because it's always been Zeke being the fatherly figure to Drew. And now Zeke is kind of, you know, doing his... We'll get to Zeke.
His thing.
But, and, you know, Zeke is kind of out of the picture right now. But Hank is the one stepping up and being the father. So this is just a glimpse into the future of what having the father-son relationship would be between Hank and Zeke and Drew, which I really liked. And, you know, the audience got to see that.
Yeah. Good thing to see.
Yeah. And our boys the Braverman boys are having some trouble tonight in this episode.
Poor guys.
Poor Crosby and goodness, all these names. I'm losing in it tonight. I'm just so emotional. Yes, Adam and Crosby. The luncheonette gets broken into.
Yeah.
As much as y'all are like, you love Joel so much, I love Crosby. Like, he is my boy, and I just relate to him a lot. I guess that's bad because he's like the crazy character, but anyway, I mean, they literally just can't catch a break, and I was kind of like feeling the situation and knew that this is what it was going to come down to, but I'm actually semi-surprised that after it all, you know, they find out they're going to get a big insurance check and everything instead of a small one. I was actually kind of surprised that Crosby still wanted to go for it, because I thought he was just over it at this point, but I'm happy that he still decided to go for it.
I thought after the conversation that he had with Jasmine in the parking
Garden,
lot outside, whatever it was, I thought that he was ready to what did they say, like sell out or
Cash out.
Cash out.
Yeah, cash
I
out.
thought that he was ready to, you know, start over and just start new and get that money and everything. I mean, didn't you have that conversation with Adam about, I'm going to buy a Lamborghini? And but then he totally flipped it and was like, you know what, I want to keep going with the luncheonette. I didn't see that coming. I was shocked.
And you know what, I kind of did see it coming.
Did you?
Because again, when big decisions like that, when having, you know, robbery take place for a business, and you get that in insurance, and like up front, you're going to think of other options in order to just, again, dissolve or leave something that you love. But you have to explore every option. And then when Adam and Crosby are talking in the bar about their dream cars and whatnot, the discussion that they're going to do whatever it takes for their dream. And the luncheonette was Crosby's dream. And I know you don't give up on your dreams, especially for Crosby. He's such a strong, ideal person. And he's going to work hard for his dreams. He's not going to just let one robbery or one bad year stop all that.
Exactly.
But he did say that he was very stressed out and he doesn't want to be stressed out anymore.
That's the only reason why I think throughout the season I've kind of been thinking, oh, if something were to happen, I bet Crosby's gonna just end up giving up, because we've seen him go through a lot of turmoil this season. But then whenever they had the talk, that's when I was like, no, I feel like he's still gonna go for it. And I mean, I like the fact that he's gonna go for it, and maybe it's the wrong decision, but I think that it's very Crosby. He definitely doesn't give up on anything. He's not, you know, he's remaining surprisingly positive about his dad. I feel like he had a little moment with Jasmine, but he's pretty positive in comparison to some of the others, I guess. And I'm proud that he's not going to give up, or not willing to give up so easily just because some vandals robbed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel. I feel like the luncheonette has been going downhill, and I feel like this was kind of a sign that they should maybe stop.
Yeah, I see it from the a show standpoint, because if you think about it, whole last season was the whole decision of giving up the house. That was a humongous rock solid thing that kept everyone together in the Braverman family. They got rid of that and then they moved on. And then also, I wasn't against not selling the Luncheonette. I was like, it wouldn't be past me if they did actually sell it, because it's just another thing you move on from. But going off of that conversation they were having about dreams, they're not going to give that up.
Yeah.
We already gave up the house. We can't give up Luncheonette.
Exactly.
So we'll see in the final episode that the Luncheonette is gonna score some major record deal with Adam Levine or someone, and they're just they're gonna make millions of dollars.
Yes.
How it's gonna end.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. They're always going to be working.
Yeah.
So we'll get into Zeke now. The big story of this whole episode. We saw from the cliffhanger of last episode, Zeke is having a heart attack. He's getting rushed to the ambulance. And now they're at the hospital. Everyone's there. And he had another heart attack. And he's in very, very critical condition right now. And they're exploring the options. He has to go back in, actual operation. But they're worried that if he goes back in, he's not strong enough to make it and pull through. And then he has another heart attack on top of that.
Exactly.
So he's already having 2 heart attacks in one night. So he's really not in good, but he keeps pulling through. And he's stable right now. What do we think of this whole situation with Zeke? Do you think Zeke is going to go through the operation?
What do you think?
I don't think so. I think he's gonna come to terms with the fact that he's weaker, and he's just gonna, I think, appreciate the time that he has left and then call it a day.
First things first, Bonnie Bedelia is the most beautiful person on earth. With the scene with her where she had no makeup and had been crying, I'm like, she's gorgeous beyond. But I honestly can't even give an answer on it because I don't know what I think. There's half of me that thinks the same thing that you do, and then there is the other half of me that thinks that maybe Amber has her baby and he sees other things, kind of in the same scene where he saw all the kids up dancing and laughing and singing that song that he made for him.
Yeah.
And he sees something like that and it's like, I at least want to try. I can't decide.
Do you think if he tries that he's gonna?
No. I do not think if he tries, he will live. Okay. If that's what you were asking.
That's what I was trying to get to.
No. What do you think?
I don't think Zeke is going to go through the operation.
No.
Because we even saw his doctor go through and talk to the whole family. And he's like, we're going to lay out a plan and we're going to explore every option. And what did he say? There's going to be a lot of medical therapy and involved in that. And then it's like they're planning ahead, and you have to take this time to really think it out. And when he said that, the doctor said that, I'm like, okay, explore every option, not even taking just how much your life is going to change if you don't take the operation, and expect what's to be in the future.
Yeah.
I think the fact that that Zeke and Camille had that conversation about, let's be the only one to discuss this, no kids involved, I think that was very telling as well, because I think as parents, that your kids want you to survive and want you to live for as long as possible. So I don't think they want to involve their children in the decision making, because I think Zeke is pretty, not convinced, but I think he's pretty sure that he doesn't want to go through with the operation.
Right. But see, even at the same time, though, I think it's definitely great that they decided it's just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that your kids can't really understand, and it is something that a husband and wife should probably decide together. But at the same time, I almost think of it like, I feel like if I was his kid, I wouldn't want him to go through with the operation, because that's whatever percentage probably won't survive from that. But then if he at least, they don't know how much time he'll have if he doesn't have it. No, but there are other ways that maybe he could improve. Obviously, things could get a lot worse. They said more heart attacks, blood clots, strokes, and everything.
And that's scary when you don't know when that's going to happen, if it's going to happen.
But it's equally as scary, I feel like, as going into an operation not knowing if you're going to wake up. It's just one day, okay, this percentage of me dying right now is this high and surviving is this high. And so it's kind of like...
But at least you have a date. You know about a date, a specific date of, I'm going to have my operation Monday, January, whatever. But with, you don't know when blood clots are going to happen and heart attacks.
And just the risk of not getting that taken care of increases your risk of more things, more complications to come about.
Yeah.
Just like heart attacks. If you don't take care of it the first time, like Zeke didn't, he's more prone to have more. And that's what happened.
Yeah. And even the moment, like, that's what kind of scares me about him not having the operation, about like dying so soon, because even just being in the hospital, which obviously he went through a traumatic thing, he had the heart attack at night, and then whenever Joel and Julia are in the room with him, he goes into VFib and they have to pull out the crash cart and he has to get stents put in. It's like, and I guess the stents helped obviously, so maybe that would buy him more time. But it's just, it definitely is, it's too hard not, just laying in bed like, oh, I could have another heart attack right now.
Yeah.
And the thing is Zeke is up in age too, because if he was younger, and he was even talking to Millie, and he was like, if we could just go back to a couple years and we were younger and energetic and happy and have that fun that they used to have, like everything might have been fine. But now that he is up in age, he doesn't have better chances of healing as well as he could have when he was younger.
Yeah, right. 73 is no spring chicken, although that man's teeth are those of a 20-year-old. Whenever he was smiling, I'm like, your teeth are amazing. Maybe they're veneers, but they're so good. Sorry, a little side note right there.
I didn't notice that.
I just thought about it. But no, I think it's definitely very telling, of course, in the moment where they're having the baby shower for Amber, the book, and Camille's like, just, time passes by so fast. Please just enjoy this baby. And, that's life's biggest lesson is enjoy, or that everyone will tell you, enjoy yourself in the moment. It passes by before you know it. And I'm just like, why don't you just go ahead and throw us the funeral right now? Because pretty much that's what you're giving us.
And you know what's amazing? Because our past episodes that we've seen, we always see Zeke have his moment and say some life world advice to one of the Bravermans. And it felt that everyone who was giving the advice to Amber, that was advice that Zeke gave to them. And it wasn't Zeke giving the advice, it was the rest of the Bravermans. So the audience gets to see the same advice in the world, get passed from generation to generation without Zeke being there.
That's a really good point. I haven't thought about that until now. But it's another, like Adam doesn't like nail in the coffin, I feel like.
Yeah.
That's a bad
metaphor.
Bad metaphor.
I know.
Especially in this episode. I'm like, no, you could have used another euphemism for that. But yeah, and it's like, what did we think of this baby shower? It was so touching. I teared up. I really did. I'm like wiping away the tears as I'm watching it.
It was, everyone had the perfect advice for themselves to share with her.
Yeah.
Like it read just like, I love whenever Christina is saying, I'm like, Adam and Christina, I have to remember all the names.
All these names, yes.
I know. Whenever she's like, I don't know what mine's going to sound like because I was half in a bottle of wine.
So good.
But they all had the best advice to share with her. And, just stuff that, just like earlier, a lot of times stuff that people don't think to always say. Of course, everyone says, I'm always here for you and that. But just, the part where they were like, you're such a strong person. I forget who said this. Maybe Julia.
Okay.
Maybe, or no, I think Jasmine said it. But, you're such a strong person, but don't ever be too strong to come to all of us. Because obviously every mom is going to have their moments. Christina said in hers, there are going to be times when you're going to want to, laugh, cry, everything. Yeah, but to not be too strong and to, really lean on the support that's around you.
I love that everything that they said is from their own personal experiences with, Christina and the cancer and the running for office. Like all these different, everything that they've experienced and we've watched them experience, it just makes so much sense as to why they said what they said to Amber. It's perfect.
Yeah, and I loved every single advice. Embrace the curveballs, which baseball reference, thank you, Zeke.
Right.
And then, do right by yourself, be good role models. Just like every message that Parenthood just gives to one Braverman to the next, to all of us audience watchers, just like, this is so true and so realistic to life, and don't ever give up on your dreams. And, you take the hits as they come, but you got to get back up. And I love
Made me
this.
tear up right
I
now,
know, it's
Marissa.
This show.
Oh,
It's
my
this
word.
show. But and life is short, and cherish the time. And this show is almost over.
3
and
more
life is short with this show.
I know.
But that's how the episode ended, and I'm like, how are they gonna keep? I don't even
There
know.
are
How
no
are they gonna
words.
keep going? There's so much.
Yeah, I don't even know how they're gonna. I don't even know. That's
Yeah.
what I got. That's what I got.
See, Parenthood is doing its job when it literally leaves us speechless at
Yeah.
the end.
We are rarely speechless ever.
I think we started last when we did our last recap. We were just like,
What did we say?
It's great
Yep.
job. Great job, Parenthood.
This was great. Anything else of this episode that we might have missed? But
I don't think so.
it was scary. It was emotional. I laughed. I cried. And everything in between.
Yes, absolutely. They hit every notch every time.
Yes. All right, so let's get into some news.
AfterBuzz TV News.
April, I believe you have something.
Yeah, this isn't as much of news as it is just kind of, another lovely little tidbit from them. But there's a Hollywood Reporter Reporter article that came out a couple of days ago. And basically, the reporter just asked every person, what have you learned the most from the show? And my favorite 2 are the 2 that just kept it the shortest, and they're the 2 that you would think would keep it the shortest. So Craig T. Nelson, who plays Zeke, of course, said patience, definitely patience. And it speaks to his character. He's always been so patient with his kids and his grandkids, even when they do completely idiotic things. But I have to say, I think my favorite of all is Max Burkholder, who plays Max. And he says that family will always be there for you no matter what. So simple.
Such a Braverman thing, too.
Yeah.
And people tell you that all the time, but when I think about his character kind of saying this, and his family has truly supported everything he's done and been through, it's just just a sweet little tidbit from him.
Yeah, and my favorite part of that article were actually the female responses from the show. Bonnie Bedelia, she said communication in marriage really goes a long way because she herself has been in a really long, loving relationship, and she says communication works. And then even Erika Christensen, from her character, communication helps relationships, so by extension helps marriages as well. And then, Monica Potter and Lauren Graham, they said family will always be there. And, if you're having a hard time or a hard day, whatever, you gather a group of friends and family, and something good will come out of it.
There you go.
And I really did love that article. It's available on Hollywood Reporter.
Yes.
All right, so let's get to predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
You're first.
We saw a lot in the previews. But, Kelly, what do we think of the Luncheonette? Going to get sold? Yes?
I'm going to say no. I think they're going to madly succeed with the Luncheonette. Don't know how, don't know why, what happens, but I think something great is going to happen. I think everything positive is going to happen with everyone else besides Zeke. I think the Amber is going to have a beautiful, healthy child. I think Sarah and Hank will, I don't know if they can get married in a matter of however many weeks it's, to the finale. Well, but like in Parenthood time.
Yeah. Sure.
But I think they're going to be engaged and end on a happy note, and Joel and Julia are going to get back together. I just think everything positive is going to happen except for losing Zeke, and I think that'll all bring everyone together.
It'll be a bittersweet ending.
Yeah, for sure. As far as the Luncheonette goes, I completely agree with you. I think they're going to keep it as the Luncheonette, but just to throw a wrench in there. I think that's going to happen. But I could also see Crosby, them figuring out a way for Crosby to keep it on, maybe get another partner, and then Adam kind of go his own way and do his own thing, because he's always been, he of course has loved being a part of the Luncheonette, but it is, he does have a larger family, or I guess he has the same size family. No, one kid extra than Crosby has, but he just has a different mindset. So I could see that I definitely think the Luncheonette will stay to be the Luncheonette, but maybe it could go
Minus
in a
Adam.
different way. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing because we did see in the preview that Adam still wants out, but Crosby wants in, and I think Adam, given his experience, he knows how to run businesses. He can always leave and start another business. Or
I just don't know if we have
whatever.
enough time to see that, though.
We might. I mean, we had enough time in this episode to even explore the option of selling and how they would sell it and dissolve
True.
the company. And if they go that way, then we'll see.
Yeah.
The Luncheonette's not going to go anywhere, though. I don't think so, because that has become an iconic place in the Braverman story as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we saw like a little timeline in tonight's episode of all the pictures from Amber. We're gonna see more of that in next week's episode.
Yeah.
Just of every Braverman cast. And we hear the voiceover from Zeke saying 72 years of memories. He's going down his past and he's looking back. He's reminiscing.
He is. Amber is the biggest mystery at this point to me, as far as what's going to happen, because we haven't seen Ryan in a really long time. I don't
think
even
he's
know
out of the picture.
Yeah, I don't even
think
know
he's
if they'll
gone.
go there as far as like what she'll do. But she's, I don't know, something about her is just mysterious to me at this point. I think will go the obvious, like, oh, she has her baby, everything's great route. But, I feel like we also want to know a little more than that. So I wonder if they'll do like, after whatever the big shebangus happens, if they would do like a flash forward. I don't know. Those are kind of cheesy, so I don't know if they would do that.
Flash
but
forward.
Yeah.
First
like,
we'll flash back into their history and their past.
Right.
And then we'll flash forward after Zeke passes.
That might be like a
be good.
quick way to sum everything up with, you see Sarah walking down the aisle, and then
Yeah.
you see Joel and Julia. I don't know what you would
maybe
show
having
for them,
another
but-
baby.
having
Oh my gosh.
Having another baby. Oh, that's just like heaven to me. Baby.
Wow.
I do know something, but I won't say anything.
Okay, you cannot leave us here hanging.
Only
Did you learn this at the
I learned this
episode?
over a break. I learned something big happens to Joel and Julia family wise.
Oh my gosh.
That is all.
Wait,
I'm
can you tell
psychic.
us if
I'm
it's
a
a
psychic.
positive thing or
It's
not?
positive.
Okay, so you're
That
right.
is-
I'm
You're right.
psychic.
Yeah,
I'm
Yes,
psychic. You're
wow.
telling me.
that is
You're
all I
brilliant.
know, and that is all I will tease.
Let me be
because I
Joel.
could get in trouble for saying false things.
No.
No,
Nothing
but
false about that.
like you said, I would love to see a flash forward and just see where how they have moved on with their lives.
And you can probably do that pretty quickly
Really
after,
fast.
after
Yeah.
Zeke passes away and they end on a baseball diamond.
So we're all there. We're all
We're all
there.
playing baseball without Zeke.
We're
Yep.
we're there.
That's
He's done. All of us are there.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank
Oh
you
my
everyone
gosh.
for listening. Don't forget to comment and rate and subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. Leave your comments and suggestions below. Tell us how you love Parenthood and what you love to see in the next 3 episodes that we have left. Tell us how much you don't want the show to end, because we certainly don't. And where can everyone keep following you and talk to you about this?
Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Kellie Knez.
And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV. Thank you all for listening. We will see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.